During the conference contain and very lucid. For example, IGF on here.
I have another sheet on the coding. When I receive the question. نعم.
حطيتنا مع السكس والرايتس
يا فندم هم اللي حطونا
سكسي كونفرنس
هم اللي حطونا هنا. لا احنا في سكند ده سكند داي ده لا ده نمبر 1 مش عارف ازاي
جايبين لي ايه؟ جايبين لي فين يا استاذ ريمون؟ عاملين ايه يا استاذ ريمون؟
اهلا وسهلا ازي حضرتك اهلا وسهلا ازي حضرتك
ممكن نجرب
هم بعتوا يجيبوا لسه الدرجات
Ben şu fail işini ayırayım.
Okay. When I receive the question or comment, how can I address the questions or comments for one of the speakers?
For example, so a question, you know, like that, and you will see that, and you have a question. So if you want, you can say ask. Okay, you can ask me what is the question, and we will say it, and you can understand. So you can
I can read the question for the speaker.
No, she will read the questions.
You will read the question, okay.
But if you want, you can.
No problem.
I will ask
You ask about the presentation.
Sorry, what are these? This is presentation and
We can put this here and reorder the presentation. This will be the number 1. So this is 2, 3, 4. Okay. I want to upload the agenda on the presentation.
This tomorrow.
you can switch off. And upload. Bunların hepsi şimdi sana böyle gidiyoruz sırayla işte. Ne alaka onunla?
Chat part is here.
Kumanda çalışsın da o da bir de o da çalışıyor.
Yeah. Here.
En yakın bakan.
مستنيين الريموت
Remote controller. There.
حطينا الحاجات كلها كل الحاجات حطيناها فاضل
Bir şey soracağım. Malzemeyi
burası fazla fotoğraf
Bak bunları Excel'de açmıştı şey. Nasıl dosyalar
Bu diğer ekranı de şuraya. Şey versene. Tamam eyvallah.
Excel'de açmıştım kaydettik mi acaba?
Bu niye açık? Bu niye açık? Nasıl bu? Ha bu şey denemek için açmışlar.
خلاص رجع هم فتحوا البرزنتيشن بتاع الدكتور لا ده مش القانون
ده اللوجو بتاعها This is the logo.
You will just and no,
Şey versene bro ekrana. It's logging on here, no problem. Yok orada açık. Geri gidersen olmaz mı? Anladım. Şeyleri söylesene, LCD'lerden takip edebilirler. Bak. Oradan takip edebilirler sunum sırasında.
Yes, no, my point is, skip strict. Why?
It's just 3 slides at a time.
Look at that. This?
Ha, bir kere bak, daha yavaş bakarsan daha
Cihan senin orada işin var mı? Hayır geriliyorum şu an. Bak Evri bana yolladı şu an.
Şimdi
Onu geçtim.
adam olsun şimdi.
Onu geçtim. Bana saydan mail olarak konuşmaya çalıştım. Şimdi çok iyi.
Bir şeyler mi başka?
Hayır.
Good morning işte.
Şimdi güzel yazmak istemiyorum.
Güvenmiyor musun bana?
Hayır niye sanmıyorum? Ben de öğretmenlik yapıyorum. Adam çok garip bir adam ya. Ben de şimdi ben de sıcak sözlü.
Niye sanmıyorum?
Adam yok ki nasıl istiyorsan diyorum. Ben de
Here another table. Two chair. Table and two chair.
Başka masaya
en az hiç şey yazamam ya.
şey öğrendim. Bu kadar da anlıyoruz herhalde.
Uçakla oldu.
Hello there, John. Hi, how are you? Good to see you.
That's so easy to find this room. Yes, I was wondering, have you had the same experience? Big guy and six.
Nice to meet you. Excuse me, please. Do you have another remote? Because this one skips slides.
Skips. Every now and then it skips two slides.
Başka bir şey var mı? Bu kontrol var mı?
This day, the
Yok. Bakamıyor mu?
Ya of. Onları açmam lazım şu anda benim.
Hangi? Bunu yoksa bulamıyoruz.
Hayır mailimin düşük olması lazım.
Ya şimdi beni bu güzel.
Hayır. O değil o değil. Bunu arıyorum.
Her şeyi mi konuşacaksın? Aaa. Ben sana vereyim ya.
Nereden bulacağım? Mailime yolladım.
O zaman bundayım.
Bilgisayar işim var.
Yok.
Workshop'ta. Dur. Ha buldum. Buldum.
Niye beni görüyorsun ki?
Şimdi buldum. Rezonans görünüyor. Sadece orası büyüdü ama.
Hı?
Yazı nasıl biliyor kontrol? Şuradaydı valla.
Yazın bir şey demiş şuradan bir.
Bakayım küçülteyim. Bunları büyüteyim. Tamam oldu. Bu adam bizim yanımızda oturacak abi.
What about this file?
Ses. Açmalılar bizde olsun, açıklar onlarda olsun. Diğer mikrofon sizde mi ya? Şu sizde kalsın. Kapatacağım. Yok o kapanması yok. Oraya kalsın.
Aradın mı?
Erdem'i aradım. Aradık bir daha arayacağım.
Üçüncü kapıda.
Bu şartlarda yürüyemiyormuş, iş deyince kapatıyorlar. Söyledik yenisi varsa getirecekler, bakıyorlar. Da bu normal bir kumanda yani o da. Adamın parmakları büyük geliyor demek.
Bir tane daha var mı? Bakma ya.
Ne? Hafif basarsa tek geçiyor. Biz de denedik de. O bir anda fazla yükleniyor. Bak, çok da
Geldim. Diğer nereden?
Ve de duyamıyor ama.
Kumandayı, mikrofonu açtın mı?
Hello, Dr. Wallace. How are you? Are you hear me? Do you hear me?
Hello.
Hello.
Gitti görüntüsü gitti.
Yazsana duyabiliyor musun ya? Can you talk?
Hello, Dr. Wallace. Good morning. Can you hear me?
In the conference, we can't do it like that.
Okay. She can display this. She can display her presentation from her own. Okay.
Hello.
Hello, Dr. Wallace. Good morning. Can you hear me? Can you hear me now?
We can't hear you now. Yanlışlıkla bağlandım ben.
Çalışıyor mu?
Ya o zaman müzik çalışıyor mu? Tamam. Ne zaman? When will it start?
At 9 o'clock. But it's not all the speakers who are.
Bence başlayacak son diyelim.
Hello. Hello. Can you hear us? Beni bununla orada uğraştırıyorsun. Gidemeyeceğim şimdi. Hello.
Yes, we can't.
Konuş.
Dur.
Bak sana özel yolluyorum.
Ben de Evlivan'a yolluyorum.
Tamam bana geldi seninki. Ama bu çıkmıyor.
Sen bana açamıyorsun.
Hayır daha demin yaptık.
O lazer pointinin orada takılı kalması lazım. Benim şunu takmam lazım o. Başka USB
Takılır.
yok ya. Her yeri doldurma. Dur bakayım. Var işte orada USB.
Müsaade var mı?
Yeah, it's an intelligence test.
Bana 2 dakika müsaade var mı?
You know, like with the rats in a maze. So if you succeed in coming through the room, that means you have high
The helpers are having
Dr. Wallace is
She can hear us, but we can't hear from the phone. Because I will come late. She can hear us, but we can't hear. So the problem is about so if you want, you can write it here, but just promote. You want to say something?
Actually, the program is online. I got the package. It's not
After 3, I want to we need to solve the problem. If she can't speak, we need to display a video.
From Elmas.
Hello, hi.
Sorry.
On loan. Good morning. How are you? Yes, I'm sick again too.
Ses. Ses.
Quality, not quantity.
She didn't hear us. She didn't hear us. I can. دكتورة ولا احنا شايفينها وهي سمعانا بس احنا مش سامعينها. لا هي لسه داخلة حالا.
Işıkları yanıyor ama kameraya nasıl geçiyor? Şey ya kamera okumadı şu an burada. Yok kamera.
Interesting bunch of people here.
Oh, well, do you have one
You can display this link. This is the video of the presentation. Solve the problem. But try something with the link. Yes. From Gmail.
Did you get the program?
I have connected my audio and hoping it will work now.
Karşı telefon sesi gelmiyor.
Okay. If you can't solve this problem, you can display this video.
Okay.
Çıkmış gerçi.
Yes. Tell me your email. I will write it.
Bu programı bilen birisi yok mu ya? Bize filmi verdiler normalde. Kameramı Ferdi abi nasıl? İyiyim abi. Bir şey diyeceğim sana. Benim bu bilgisayara bağladıkları şeyler var ya, kameralar. Onlardan benim şu anda o kullandıkları programını okumuyor. Daha doğrusu kamera okuyor bilgisayar ama programını şey yapamıyor, göremiyor. Kamera ayarı gibi bir şey yok. Sadece bu programda kameraya basmadan şey yapıyor. Bilgisayarın, evet, bir dakika, tamam buldum abi, tamam çözdüm.
All the
Tamam,
people, do you give it? Do you give all the people, all the audience? Okay, I will save on Europe and they can... And they can take it. Or maybe...
Aklında bulunsun bak, burada ayar şeyi var. Burada
I
kamerayı
guess one girl is standing there, so
İstersen
can
şu kameraya, istersen bu kameraya git.
see and seeing if people coming from outside, she can give it to me, okay?
Okay.
Hello, Alice. Can you hear me?
She didn't.
Sorry. If we put the table or the table, is it okay for you?
Yeah, listen now.
Hello, hello, hello, Ali.
The paper outside. Ben de onu diyorum ya, o zaman- But maybe they cannot see the so we wonder if they see
I can hear you, but I think you still can't hear me. I sent you the...
Bu sesle ilgili bir olay var mı yani? Onun web site'ine yapalım bakalım ya. Linkini.
O zaten duyuyor bizi. Biz onu duyamıyoruz.
Ona girmek istiyorsun.
I know you, but I have to distance away.
Webcam'in sesi zaten açık değil, mikrofonlar buna bağlı.
صوتهم عالي كمان. Okay, good morning everyone. I would like to welcome you to the workshop One World, Diverse Content and Flexible Access. The workshop today is aiming at two themes as to how to maintain the cultural and linguistic diversity and the governmental policies required to enhance the creation and dissemination of local content. I would like to thank the organizers. First of all, I would like to thank Biblioteca Alexandrina and the Ministry of Communication and Information Technology in Egypt, which I'm representing, and of course Dr. Ismail Sirajuddin, the director of the Library of Alexandria. And also I would like to thank our co-organizer, the UNESCO and the UN ESCWA. And of course, I would like to greet all and to thank all our speakers who have joined us today to represent the prominent entities that they are from all over the world. Specifically, I would like to thank Dr. John Vanneau from the World Digital Library and Library of Congress, Dr. Indrajit Banerjee from the UNESCO, Dr. Alicia Wallace from the Museum Victoria in Australia, who will participate remotely. I hope that we solve the connection issue with Dr. Wallace so that she can join us. Dr. Lorraine Porticancula from the OECD, Dr. Haider Farahat from the ESCWA, and Mr. McCain Fay from the UNECA. The objective of the workshop was basically to shed the light on how the cultural diversity and the linguistic diversity they can be maintained within the information and knowledge society using information and communication technology. Also on to seeing how to explore the different approaches in creating and disseminating local content in order to achieve the global collaboration horizons that extend beyond national and linguistic boundaries, and to pay attention to the local content creation and make content in endangered language more accessible and find means to protect them. And finally, to propose recommendations to encounter challenges of creating and improving the enabling environment for the development of local content. So I would like to start with our first speaker, Dr. Ismail Sirajuddin, who is, I do not think that I need to introduce him, but I think that he's very well known. Dr. Sirajuddin is the director of the Library of Alexandria and chairing all the affiliate research center of the library. He's chair of many international panels and committees all over the world. And I know that he has a very special passion for Africa. He has been the vice president of the World Bank, and he has held the chair of the professorship in Collège de France, among many other international positions that he has had. So, Dr. Sirajuddin, I would like to ask you, given that, I mean, I know very well the BA has lots of efforts in digitization of content on the cultural heritage, promoting access to archives and to public access to content. But also it has lots of contribution in supporting local content creation, specifically supporting multilingualism, and it has worked on creating enabling environment that supports the contribution of the community into the local content and encouraging the community to participate in that. And also you have extended the efforts not only within Egypt, but to extend to the region and other parts of the world. So I would like it if you can share with us the efforts that the BA has been doing in this aspect. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Yes, I would very much like to cover a quick view about what we're doing in building intercultural bridges at the Library of Alexandria, provided that, of course, this would work.
What happened to the...
Somebody changed the batteries, took it to change the batteries, and it doesn't work. Where? Well, anyway, I wanted to give you two examples of what we do. The library has very advanced informatics, thanks to Dr. Noah Adli, who before going to run the government of Egypt's IT concerns was helping build up the Library of Alexandria's IT. She was the pivotal person. Dr. Magdi Nagy, who is there, is also a very central person. We have many, many such programs, but one that I wanted to address was what is called the UNL, the Universal Networking Language, which started with the UN University in Tokyo, and where the idea was initially to have machine translation. And with the effort that was built into that was a hub and spoke design, so that instead of trying to build programs that would translate from one language into the other, we would map the language into a computer language, largely a logical structure of grammar and semantic and syntactic structures called the UNL, the Universal Networking Language, and then from there it would go back into English, for example, and then back from English into UNL and from UNL into Arabic. Now, why would that be important? It would allow each small language to have their linguists link directly Armenian into UNL, UNL into Armenian, and we in the Library of Alexandria, having done the Arabic UNL, UNL Arabic, suddenly we have a translation possibility between Armenian and Arabic, which would have been almost impossible to do otherwise. So that idea was started, and we succeeded because beyond that, we built in the Arabic part, we also built a huge database called the International Corpus of Arabic, where we have 100 million words, and each word has 16 lexical qualifiers, which therefore allows us to build a table that has approximately 100 million lines and 16 columns. And from that table, we can disambiguate individual words so as to know how they should be used. And there, it's finally come along. Let me see what I'll skip this very quickly. So these are the two issues I'm giving you examples of: the issue of language and empowering science work with Africa. So on the issue of language, the UNL, the basic idea, as I said, was not to have individual programs that link such languages, rather to have a hub. And while this looks more complicated, in fact, if you see now that when we add the French or the German, they have also opened up on the English and the Arabic and so on. Now it's becoming a reality. This is what UNL looks like. It's not a spoken language. It's purely a computer language. And we are responsible for this part, and we've used it also to do additional work. This is a team that did this work, and you can see at the center Dr. Magdi Nagy and Dr. Noah Adli, so you can ask them whatever you want about this. So we have 100 million words representing modern standard Arabic that are morphologically, syntactically, and semantically analyzed. These are the sources we've taken: the press, the net articles, the books, and the academic research, and the genre: arts and culture, biography, religion, sports, etc. And so far, we have 120 million words collected. We've mapped them in to match differences between countries and the differences between genres. And we've then 2 million words were analyzed. Now, what I mean by that is here what it looks like. These are the 16 lexical qualifiers. They have a table that looks like that, 100 million lines, 16 columns, all filled out. And then each word has its metadata for information to be retrieved. And you can find, for example, verbs in the present tense, you can correct them, and so on. Then we took a test bed with 2 million words that were reviewed and corrected by experts. Now, having done this by hand, we know where the errors are, and we were able, therefore, to get a level of precision because we run the program on the 2 million words. We see what it missed, we correct it and tweak it, and we get better and better. So very soon we will reach an accuracy level of 95 to 98. Since I had done that slide, we are now at 91%, so it's advancing quite well. Now, the achievements are disambiguation, meaning that you can build a, I'm sorry, this thing is not working. The disambiguation is particularly important because it enables you to tell the difference. In Arabic, words are complicated. A word like Ain Lam Mim, you cannot tell whether it's alima, alam, ilm, because there is no diacriticals on it. And so we had to design a program of contextual interpretation that allows us to do this kind of work. This has been quite successful, and I dare say, okay, bring the next one, come on, move. It's not working, it's not working. And the key thing is that Google had tried to do diacritization, tashkil Arabic. We succeeded in doing tashkil, which is very important because the construction of the Arabic language is such that you're not relying only on the position of the word to understand the sentence. You are looking for the last vocalization on the word. And if most of the text that's available is not diacritized, it doesn't help for us to be able to tell what the word is. We need to understand the sentence. Now, we've developed programs that actually do this and that do this at a great level of success. So that is one of the programs that we have achieved so far. And the other program I wanted to show you was really relating to our work in Africa. There we have two problems, of course. One has been access to science, and with Elsevier we've been able to get 150 free subscriptions to Scopus and Science Direct, which enabled us to get the material, about 20 million items, available to researchers throughout sub-Saharan Africa. But then we found out that although the developing world has 80% of the world's population, 27% of the scientists, they have only 3% of the scientific publications. And we talked to a number of editors, and they said the key problem is the quality of the research design and analytical work that is coming from developing countries. So we created the Research Methods Library of Alexandria, the RMLA, and this is a portal that has 5,000 items on it, lectures, materials, research, and is supported by about 300 top experts in statistics to help work with the local researchers. We've even created a button that they can put on their website. You press the button and you are inside the Research Methods Library of Alexandria. And so far we've been able to reach a large number, about 37 such buttons. In Africa, we have over 30 in 16 buttons in 9 countries and 30 individuals. So our network is beginning and expanding. One is to bring access to the information. One is to empower people to produce their own information. And matching that, we also have, of course, the work on translation and disambiguation of Arabic for all the younger generation of Arab students. So these are some of the examples. I could go on and on. There's a lot of these examples, but I think I will stop here to make sure that I leave time for my colleagues. So anyway, Dr. Noah, I think the presentation would have been better with the slides, but in the absence of the slides, I think the general ideas are still correct. So thank you very much. Never mind. I think we'll just give the floor to others.
Well, Dr. Salahuddin, I'm very grateful. Thank you very much for your intervention. And I'm very sorry for the technical problems that they are facing with the presentation. And I'm sure the visual aids would have conveyed more, but your intervention has enriched us a lot on what the library is doing on these 2 major initiatives. And taking from that, actually, I would like to call upon Dr. John Vanneau, who is directing the World Digital Library in the Library of Congress. And I would like to ask Dr. John, the World Digital Library is a known initiative that promotes linguistic diversity and multilingualism, specifically on content creation. So what are the challenges that this initiative has been facing into creating and maintaining a multilingual website, such as the WDL? And do you find that the investment that has been done in multilingualism has been paid so far? And also the interface of the WDL is in major 7 languages. And they are all spoken by hundreds of millions of people. But how about content in languages that they are spoken by smaller number of people? Does the WDL have anything to offer on this front? Thank you.
To the organizers for inviting me here for this opportunity. Okay, since time is short, let me get started. That's running down. Okay. This is the mission and objectives of the World Digital Library. Our mission is basically to put cultural content online for free, make it available to as many people as possible. With a number of objectives regarding promoting intercultural understanding, linguistic diversity, capacity building, and so forth. Very quickly, I won't go over the whole history of the timeline, but the idea goes back to 2005 when Dr. Billington, the Librarian of Congress, proposed the idea of a World Digital Library to UNESCO. We then worked with UNESCO to develop a prototype, a governance structure. You see there on March 2010, we adopted the WDL Charter. I should mention that under the Charter, we have an Executive Council, and Dr. Saragoldin is the chairman of that Executive Council. And I would also point out the last bullet on the slide is that we've actually launched a new beta site for people to look at, and which will eventually replace the old site with the same functionality, but I won't go over the whole history. Very quickly, in those early days, we had a planning process involving a number of UNESCO expert groups. and also very heavily internally in the Library of Congress. And we really asked very hard the question, you know, what would make a WDL worth doing? Because we did have this burden of skepticism. Well, yeah, Dr. Billington's a famous librarian, very important person in the library world. He's made this proposal, but what is going to be the value added of this WDL? Why should people join? Why should people participate? And one of the, and we came up with three things: multilingualism, universality, and a high level of functionality and added value. And we've been struggling to implement those, working to implement all three of those, these things ever since. I'll focus today on multilingualism because that's the key to our, that's our topic here. As Noah said, the site is available in 7 languages, meaning the interface is available in 7 languages. The 6 UN official languages, official UN languages, plus Portuguese. And the content is in 114 languages so far. So this is, gets to Noah's question. The interface is in major big languages, although we do have some gaps there with particularly South Asian languages. And most of the content is in heavily spoken languages: Arabic, Chinese, Russian, English, German, some dead languages, Latin and Greek and so on, because of their cultural importance. But we do try to focus on lesser known languages, Indian languages from, Amerindian languages from South America, African languages and so on. Here you see the top languages in the world by number of speakers and by number of internet users. This is always changing. This is 2012 data. Maybe it's probably out of date by now, but you can see there's a pretty good correspondence between spoken and internet, this is the actual usage of the World Digital Library. So this has surprised us. We didn't predict this would happen, but 42% of our users by page views are in English, are in Spanish, followed by English, Portuguese, and then Arabic has actually moved up to 4th. There's a big gap between the big 3, so to speak, and the lesser, the other 4. But we've seen tremendous growth in Arabic in particular. And Chinese is growing, but we've got, have a lot of work to do to get some of these more difficult, at least from our point of view, they're difficult languages better exposed. But it's growing, so Arabic has actually grown quite a bit. Here you see the country of visitors. We have heavy usage in Spain, US, Brazil, Mexico, China, but see, it's pretty well distributed across all these different. You can see why the Spanish-speaking world is so high, because we have a number of countries. We have Spain, Mexico, Colombia, Peru, and so on. With Chile, very heavy usage, but it's becoming fairly widespread, where we have a couple of Arabic-speaking countries, China, of course, Brazil is very high. So we're getting pretty good coverage, usage from around the world. A little bit about universality. We made a point of having some content about all UN member countries. We now have 183 partners in 81 countries, and our goal is to get at least one partner in every country. Now, by partner means an institution, a library, or a museum, or whatever that could contribute content. Here you see these tend to be what the partners are, and use pretty good distribution, very strong coverage in Western Europe, in North America, but also East Asia, and so on. Now, capacity building, this gets to the issue of local content creation that Dr. Adley raised. One of the biggest obstacles to creating local content for showing on the World Digital Library, and by that means digitizing local material, writing descriptions about it, creating metadata about it, and so on, is capacity. We have raised money from foundations to set up digital conversion centers in 3 places: at the National Library and Archives in Egypt and Cairo, not the BA. They have capability, but NLAE didn't, in Baghdad and Iraq and Uganda. And here you see some photos from the activities underway at those countries. We'd like to do a lot more of this. When I say we, it doesn't all necessarily need to be done through the Library of Congress. It could be done through UNESCO. It could be done through IFLA. It could be done through ministries of development or whatever. But we see a need for a lot more capacity building in the developing world. Of course, there are competing needs, health and disasters and so on. Functionality and added value. I won't spend time on this because I want you to just actually go to the site. High quality metadata, curatorial interpretation, browse, search, zoom, full text search, exposure to search engines, text to speech conversion. This is actually relevant to multilingualism. You can read, you can listen. This is helpful for people who have learning disabilities. You can listen to all of the metadata on the site. Translation model. I'll finish very quickly. We translate everything. The aim is to have an equivalent user experience in each of the languages. So it's not like Wikipedia, where every version of Wikipedia is a little bit different and there's no uniformity. We want to have a uniform experience here so that what you see on the English site is the same as you see on the Arabic site and so on. Hold on. This top one is very important. User access is key to the language of the browser. So somebody goes on World Digital Library in France, as I did 2 weeks ago in Lyon, and it comes up as a French website. And in Brazil, it comes up as a Portuguese website. If you don't happen to be in a country that speaks, as one of the interface languages, it's not clear what it comes up with, usually English, I suppose. But that's important because I think many people who use World Digital Library don't have any idea that it's a multilingual website. They think it's a Portuguese website, or they think it's a Spanish website, which is good, but it puts a very heavy burden on us because the quality has to be good. We don't get credit for being an English website that sort of also adds some features in foreign languages. People want it to be good, and if it's not, they complain. I'm running out of time here, so let me quickly say we would like to add additional interface languages. Going back to those early slides, the biggest gap we have is South Asian languages. There's a pretty good correspondence between R7 and the number of speakers in the world, but not when it comes to South Asia. I mean, there are languages in South Asia, not just Hindi, but Gujarati and Urdu and so on, which hundreds of millions of people speak, which are not on World Digital Library. We'd like to add those at some point, but right now we have enough trouble on our hands just handling the 7 we have. Translation method, I won't go into this except to say there's a very sharp contrast here between what we're doing and the UNL system that Dr. Sarah Gildeen talked about. This is a much smaller effort. We've done 10,555 items so far. So we use machine-assisted translation, not machine translation. We use the TRADOS system with very large translation memories. And we use in English, we use an authoritative English record as sort of the motor. Everything goes into English and then into the other languages. We don't translate Arabic to Chinese or whatever. And we use TRADOS and so on. Just to finish, content. Please go on the site, but I'll finish with, here's a Mayan codex from 1200 from a library in Germany. Here's a Damascus Bible, originally made in Spain from the National Library of Israel. Here's the Borso d'Estre Bible, one of the most expensive books ever made from Estense, Modena. Here we have something from Bavarian State. Here is a Quran from the National Library and Archives of Iran, which is one of our partners. Here is a atlas from the National Library of Spain, an old map of Mexico City, Chinese map. This is from Yale University Library, scientific work in Persian, a astronomical work in Arabic, another work from Iran, the famous Book of Kings, a lot of nature stuff. We don't yet have a Turkish partner. If there's any Turks out there, we'd love to get Turkey involved in this project. But we do have a very nice Ottoman atlas and other Turkish items from the Walters Art Museum in Baltimore. So that's basically it. Moving forward, we're adding content. We're trying to get more partners. We're trying to engage a wider audience, and we're adding interpretive and thematic materials on this new beta website, which I would encourage you to take a look at. So that's the overall picture, and I look forward to the discussion.
Thank you very much, John, for this quick tour d'horizon of the World Digital Library, and with the emphasis on the different diversity of content, specifically on the with the multilingualism and the different languages, the 114 languages and content, which is extremely rich. And from that, I would like to call upon Dr. Indrajit Banerjee, who is an expert in the social impact of information and communication technology, who has just taken office as director of the UNESCO's Knowledge Societies Division. And Indrajit, the UNESCO plays a vital role in maintaining the cultural and linguistic diversity in cyberspace.
My presentation they have? Yeah, sure.
So we'd like to hear your opinion on what are the major challenges in multilingualism in cyberspace, and what measures can be used to encourage multilingualism content creation and dissemination and use in the cyberspace.
Thank you, and thank the organizers for giving me the opportunity of being present here. Of course, I'm no librarian of the caliber of Dr. Sarah Gildeen and Dr. John here, so my presentation is going to be rather different. Basically, my objective will be to try and see what UNESCO has been doing to promote multilingualism, especially in cyberspace. And we have faced numerous challenges, but I think we have made significant progress in the past few years, as you shall see. Now, this is just to recap how many significant documents have been ratified, how many resolutions have been passed by UNESCO to highlight the importance that we give to the whole question of multilingualism and multiculturalism, and at various levels, whether it be tangible heritage, intangible heritage, World Heritage Sites, of course, and increasingly so in the domain of languages. And you see the one marked in orange there was the one which is the latest recommendation on the use and promotion of multilingualism in cyberspace. Now, what we notice if we go back and map the technological developments as well as societal, political, economic, environmental changes, it's numerous dependencies, situations, structures, practices and relations which have been created. In this context, and as all of you will know, in the era of globalization, the whole notion of multilingualism and multiculturalism must be revisited. We can't look at it the same way as we did 50 years ago. Increasingly, people are multilingual. There is a lot of people who belong to several cultures at the same time. And this, of course, transforms the situation in which we deal with the whole question of multilingualism. Now, we see that very clearly in the past what has happened is that there has been a tendency to be very technology-centered. And I think in Dr. Sarah Gildeen's presentation, it was interesting to see how much attention that they had paid to the users in preparing all this, in preparing this access to all this data. And we believe that the challenges to protecting linguistic minority rights on the internet must be increasingly people-centered. And as you will see as I go along, numerous initiatives have been taken by UNESCO to ensure that there's a greater people-centric approach to multilingualism. Now we are moving towards the end of the Millennium Development Goals. Many people have, of course, commented that in the MDGs, no place had been made for culture. Although we notice that almost any one of those goals are deeply linked to cultural issues, cultural context, cultural environments, cultural practices. And we believe that as far as the debates currently are going on, we see that in the post-2015 Sustainable Development Goal agenda, and we hope that linguistic and cultural diversity can be mainstreamed across all the new development goals. UNESCO has taken a very interesting approach since 2005 at the World Summit on Information Society. What we have done is we have decided to mainstream cultural and linguistic diversity in terms of our overall approach. As some of you would know, in 2005 at the World Summit on Information Society in Tunis, UNESCO came up with the concept of knowledge societies, arguing that information society was not the appropriate concept because information was just a means and a tool, and the ultimate goal was knowledge. And that effectively, when you look at development today, most development in any field is driven by the knowledge dividend. So therefore, you can see that we have this concept which has since evolved, since 2005 of course. We have 4 pillars: education for all, cultural and linguistic diversity, access to information and knowledge, and freedom of expression. This itself obliges UNESCO, obliges all our partner agencies to pay great attention to the issue of cultural and linguistic diversity, because we consider it as one of the key pillars of the knowledge societies that we wish to build. In our work itself and our approach, to respond to your question, we have actually 4 clear approaches and strands. One is the use of normative instruments, and this is fundamental because we have seen in the past at UNESCO on many occasions that we can beg and plead with member states to do something, but as long as there is no binding or normative instrument, nothing much gets done because it's left to member states to do what they want. So we have normative instruments. We have several very significant research outputs in the area of cultural and linguistic diversity. We have international cooperation and partnership with several agencies and some special initiatives. Now I skip to the normative instrument, but it's extremely important to note that our recommendation on the use and promotion of multilingualism in cyberspace is now a binding instrument. All member states have to submit to us every 2 years reports what they have done to promote multilingualism in their respective countries and so on. And this recommendation is the only normative instrument of its kind at UNESCO. And we invite, but also to a certain extent oblige our member states to take concrete measures for the promotion and use of multilingualism. We have, of course, over the years asked our member countries to submit reports, what has been done, what are the languages which are in danger, and I'll take this opportunity to point you to our World Atlas of Endangered Languages, which is a very unique initiative by UNESCO, which actually shows you which are the languages which are in danger around the world, which are likely to disappear, etc. And this overall map gives you a sense of how severely languages are threatened not only in cyberspace, but in reality. In terms of research, we did a very interesting research with the OECD and ISOC. The idea was to convince governments that having local content is not only beneficial for itself and for promotion of multilingualism, but that the more you have local content, the lesser the cost of access becomes. And you can see that, for example, in countries like India, which is my country, the reason for which there's been such an explosion of media is simply because of the number of large language groups we have. So you have television, 400, 500, 600 television channels, many of them in local languages because they are fairly large and very vibrant language groups. In terms of international cooperation, we have this partnership with URID, of course. We're looking at top-level domain names, ICC TLDs, to encourage more and more languages to have their own internet domain names. And that we see by itself may not be promoting local content, but I think it's an initiative, it's an incentive, it's a motivation for people to have their own language domain names and populate it with local content. This is the atlas I mentioned to you. We are now working to completely revamp, update this atlas, and this should be giving you and our member states a fairly good sense of how severe the threat to languages are. I believe today we have 2,000 languages out of the 6 officially recognized 6,000 languages in the world. Only 2,000 are online. And so we're trying to do also more at UNESCO's level with our member states to ensure that more and more languages are present online. Just wanted to point out the fact that there's International Mother Language Day that we celebrate. We strongly encourage all of you to celebrate that, because I think the mother language, the mother tongue, has always been an extremely important foundation on which to build to promote multilingualism and linguistic and cultural diversity. This is our website. Please visit it. You can see all the initiatives that we have undertaken in terms of promoting linguistic and cultural diversity online. We have several sessions here at the IGF where we will be mentioning some of these initiatives. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Indrajit, for this enriching intervention, showing us what is the UNESCO's effort in this area, and it's obviously that you are tackling different and several approaches, combining, research with international cooperation, with special initiatives, and among other things. And this is a very enriching way of achieving it. So now I would like to, we have our next speaker is Dr. Alicia Wallace from Australia, but I don't know whether, do we have the connection? No. We don't have the connection, so we'll skip the presentation. Unfortunately, she is supposed to be connecting, doing it remotely, doing the connection remotely. However, there is a problem with the technical equipment here, and we're not able to establish the connection. So I will switch now to Dr. Lorraine Porciuncula from the OECD. Lorraine is an analyst on the broadband policy at the Digital Economy and Policy Division in the OECD. And what I would like to ask Lorraine actually is the OECD is very well known on its expertise on the public sector information. And the public sector information is yet another type of content which generate benefit across the economy. And what is it? Now it's called like the digital economy. So given this great expertise of the OECD, we'd like that you share with us what had been the recent development in the government PSI-related policies and initiative, and now with the growth of the big data, how does the big data affect the PSI, the public sector information creation and use?
Thank you very much. Good morning to the audience and for those watching us remotely. I'd like to start by talking about the framework of the knowledge economy from the OECD, and then on local content, and then we dip into PSI and public sector information. So as economies move towards being more knowledge intense and information-rich activities spread around different sectors, they become crucial raw materials to the production chain of value-added goods and services. So the aggregate benefits from making data and information more easily available has been increasingly recognized and backed by evidence. So this evidence points to the relationship between reducing barriers and innovation. And the amazing role that the internet takes in this regard is on providing extremely effective and costless means for disseminating knowledge, and especially new knowledge. So the internet represents both the possibility of expanding opportunities for individuals and firms to access relevant knowledge produced by others independently of their own investment in new knowledge, and on the opportunity to collaborate with others and share their own bottom-up innovations with the world. So this is what we call inclusive innovation. So what's happening here? So this is what we call inclusive innovation or frugal innovation, and which is so important for bottom-up economies, or for developing economies. So we have empiric evidence of the positive impact of industry's internet adoption on firms' labor productivity, for example, and also on the digitization of industries, providing larger benefits for exactly those firms that commonly face greater obstacles for engaging in innovation, such as small firms, SMEs. So we have several works on local content. One of them was mentioned by Dr. Banerjee before. We have a policy guidance on digital content, which remains extremely up to date, even if it's from 2008. But because knowledge is so important in the economy and society, any barriers to access due to language, cultural, economic, literacy barriers are to be overcome because they hinder economic gains. So the cost of having those barriers are too high. And the benefits that any organizations would have for the use and reuse of information are to be taken into account on the costs of keeping those barriers on. So in this OECD work with UNESCO and ISOC, we have, I should highlight two of the main findings. So one is that low content is growing at astonishing rates. And the other one is that infrastructure matters too. So content not only drives infrastructure investments, but also promotes, infrastructure promotes local distribution of content more efficiently and delivers content out to the world. So not only locally, it helps with the distribution, but on making local content global. And then when you think about the role the market players have on creating and developing digital content business models, we need to think about the role the government has on creating enabling factors for the creation and use of local content. So they should take measures to support cultural diversity and local content-related entrepreneurship, for example, and act as facilitators by enhancing capabilities and removing regulatory barriers and other impediments for local content creation and distribution. They should also promote competition to lower access prices and improve connectivity and network infrastructure. So one example, for example, is the case of Nepal, that they observed that after the first year of the implementation of their internet exchange point, they saw that the peak of traffic in that first year was exactly when the grades from local public schools were released. So that supports the evidence that putting on infrastructure drives local content, and that this kind of content is exactly the most one of the most relevant and useful for individuals. So by its nature, the content produced by the public sector is local and relevant. So that's why it's so important that governments become role models in the creation and distribution of local content. And the potential of public sector unleashing is quite high. We have a OECD recommendation on PSI from 2008 that now has been reviewed and it will be soon published. But we have actually estimated the size of the PSI market in the OECD economies, and although I cannot release the data, it's measured in billions. Not only that, but the economic impact of unleashing PSI is also measured in many billions. And not only all this economic direct impact, when you think about increased transparency, trust, efficiency, and quality of public services, and on improving linkages between government and citizens. Unleashing PSI and opening data is an extremely smart strategy for any government. It reduces the costs for both citizens and businesses. So, for example, it was estimated how much time a citizen would gain on better public services. So in Norway, you would benefit from 2 hours a year per citizen, and that measured economically also is counted in billions. And the production and release of public sector information becomes a direct input for new business models. So not only business models, services and products, and hence helping economic gains and overall social gains. So there are several good practices out in the world. One of a very known one is gov.uk. And we have other examples, not only on making public information services systematically available and easy to understand by the citizens, but also platforms such as challenge.gov that brings people to crowdsource solutions from to the government. So that it's part of the co-production of solutions to different challenges. You have many different examples on making data easily available and producing a platform where people can make up applications for this data. They can produce new products even for market or for the public sector themselves. Have the case of Chile Atiende, for example, which is like also systematization of public sector services and information. And a very interesting case that I find is the example of the German government. So that's called Leichensprechen, which is it's easy German. It's very interesting what they did. So in many of the government websites, you already have tools to increase and reduce the font of the words. But what they did was to put an option to people to choose for an easy German. That's specifically relevant for people who have low literacy rates and for immigrant populations who are the ones who would benefit most from access to public sector information and services. So some strategic perspectives for local content. So the idea is there are some costless normative actions that can be taken and unleash existing opportunities. So seizing low-hanging fruits. There are some, you should also target high-yield and systemic actions such as e-government platforms, e-health, production of maps using data from population, traffic, weather. And also taking into account hidden issues, because issues like security and privacy can hinder value added when you're working on a PSI strategy. And also we have problems with finding internationally comparable measurements. But we can continue that in the discussion. I'm up to my time. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Lorraine, and thank you for keeping the time. And I'm sure that in the discussion there will be questions coming up regarding the different items and ideas that you have presented. Now I would like to turn to Dr. Haider Farhat, who is Director of Technology for Development Division at the UNESCO in Beirut. Before that, Dr. Farhat held 2 government posts in Jordan, including the Director General of the Jordan Department of Statistics and the Director General of the Jordan National Information Technology Center, which is basically the government CIO. Now for the ESCWA, Dr. Farhat is one of the most prominent entities in the Arab region, and it has been contributing greatly on promotion of the digital Arabic content. So we would like to hear from you, what is, from in your opinion, what is the most promising area for business or the private sector in developing digital Arabic content industry, and what are the most notable challenges that they are preventing the Arab region from becoming the leader in the development of digital Arabic content, and what are the efforts the ESCWA is doing in order to overcome these challenges and promote Arabic digital content. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I will try to answer your very legitimate questions through this presentation. I will speak something about the digital content background in the Arab world. I will speak about the Arabic digital content and some recommendations. The importance of digital Arabic content. First of all, let me just share this information with you. There are 22 countries of the world we call the Arab countries, members of the League of Arab States. All of them, the official language is Arabic. So we have 22 countries of the world country community whose official language is one, same language. We have many other countries of the world where Arabic is a second language, either by constitution or by practice. There are many issues when we speak about, because my previous colleagues speak about the spectrum of languages in general. So please allow me to zoom on the Arabic language for two purposes: as a case, one language as a case, and number two, to give the audience some idea about what's going on in this region. Preserving the Arabic language and identity online is one thing. Enriching content for the internet in general on various devices. One research indicated that 90% of the Arab speakers, whether in the Arab countries or elsewhere, they prefer to read the stuff on the internet using their native language, the mother language, the Arabic language. Youth unemployment. One other issue is that we have looked at promoting digital Arabic content on the internet as one way of fighting and mitigating unemployment, because youth, they are enticed to work on content creation, content consumption, and so on. So we think that promoting digital Arabic content is one way of dealing with this notorious problem, which is unemployment among youth, especially female. These are some numbers. The digital content industry globally has grown from $731 billion to $885 billion globally. In the Arab region, it has grown from 21 billion to 26 billion between 2011 and now, which is 3-4 years, let's say. Now, the digital Arabic content in the Arab region has grown from 3.5 billion to 5.3 billion. So we are talking about a region with 350 million population. We have these numbers. As you see, there's potential growth at the global, all languages in the Arab region, and Arabic language in the Arab region. I don't want to go through definitions, because the definition of digital Arabic language is similar to the definition of, let's say, digital English language or digital German language or digital Chinese language or any other definition. Now, The mandate, why we are all here? Because there are some global mandates, there are some UN mandates. As some of my previous colleagues mentioned, the WSIS, the World Summit on Information Society, it mandates through the Geneva Plan of Action the main action lines. For example, in action line C8, cultural diversity and identity, linguistic diversity, and local content. Also, in the other action line, C3, access to information and knowledge. C4, capacity building. C7, ICT applications. Now we are at a crossroads of the WSIS 2014, 2015. There is a lot of debate now on where to go, what's next. This process of WSIS, this current process is about to finish. The whole world community now is about to make a huge strategic decision on where to go, what UN processes, how the UN processes should continue, like the WSIS. Should we continue? Should we merge WSIS with other UN processes, such as the MDGs, SDGs, and other processes, such as this very process that we are here today, which is the IGF process, the IGF UN process. So we are now in 2014, 2015 at a crossroad, or how these UN and other international processes are moving forward. Now I want to address the second issue, which is what ESCWA is doing in the area of digital Arabic content. As many of you know, ESCWA is a United Nations organization working or operating in the Arab region, which means 22 countries. 17 of them are members of ESCWA. And we are here to promote the social and economic files in the region. And in this area, when we speak about social promotion, there is the information society, there is the knowledge society. When we want to promote economy, there is the digital economy, or the information economy, or the knowledge economy. So ESCWA is here to promote digital Arabic content as means of promoting the economic and social prosperity of the region. Let me just share with you some of the activities and outcomes that has been happening by ESCWA. For example, 2003, there was the Digital Arabic Content Initiative. In 2003, enhancing Arabic content on digital networks. In 2005, digital Arabic content opportunities, priorities, and strategies. Some of these are studies, workshops. 2007 virtual workshop on promoting digital Arabic content. 2010 survey on digital Arabic content, software, applications, and need assessment. 2010 there's a study models for business plans, marketing, and multi-stakeholder partnerships. 2011 mechanisms for community-driven interactive Arabic multimedia content. In 2012, status of the digital Arabic content industry in the Arab region. 2013, we produced a leaflet on digital Arabic content industry. 2013, business models for digital Arabic content. 2014, policy note on digital Arabic content strategies. These are some pictorial view of some of the things that we have produced. Most of our production are bilingual, Arabic-English, sometimes trilingual with French. Promoting the digital Arabic content industry through incubation. One track we took in the Arab region is that we want to make this bridge between producing digital Arabic content and youth and incubation and involving young people, involving crowdsourcing ordinary citizens, ordinary societies, NGOs, organizations, universities in this process of promoting digital Arabic content. We have also projects. We have a couple of projects on promoting digital Arabic content. Now we have a project proposal. We envisage to have between $500,000 and $1 million in order to move ahead with our efforts in promoting digital Arabic content. Another thing, which is national digital Arabic content competitions. We are organizing some competitions in the Arab world in order to encourage the various communities, individuals, in fact, competing for awards and competing for recognition in the area of digital Arabic content. These are some of our project partners in the region, like ADU in Abu Dhabi, Aden University in Yemen, PICTI in Palestine, iPark in Jordan, Beritek in Lebanon, El Ghazala in Tunis, and Tayik in Egypt. Now, I will move to my last part because I'm running out of time. Some recommendations. We have some recommendations for the government in the area of formulating policies and strategies for the development of digital Arabic content. We have noticed that most of the Arab countries are putting plans for digital Arabic content separately, alone, in silos, without coordinating with the neighboring Arab countries, where, as you could see, this digital Arabic content endeavor should be dealt with at transnational effort. The private sector also, they have some huge stakes in this. The private sector, for them, producing digital Arabic content is a money-making thing. So this is not bad, this is good. We want to make sure that their business model coincides with the promotion and creation of digital Arabic content. Also civil society. I will stop here. Thank you very much.
Okay, now I would like to invite Mr. McCain-Fay. Actually, before we start, I just want to notify that Dr. Wallace has sent us a video of her presentation, so we're going to share with all of us this video after we finish the presentation of Mr. Fay. Mr. Fay is the Chief Knowledge Management Section and Digital Library Services in the UN Economic Commission for Africa, and he has served for over 23 years at the service of the Commission for Africa, where he promotes the use of emerging strategies in knowledge management, information systems, and library service development. Now, Mr. Fay, the UNICA has been for over 50 years of existence, and they create and hold a vast quantity of information and knowledge in a variety of formats. So if you can share with us how can this local content can contribute in the promotion of sustainable development in Africa, and what are the efforts that the UNICA has been exercising in promoting the cultural and linguistic diversity in Africa.
Thank you, Madam Chairperson. First, let me thank the Egyptian government for giving me the opportunity to be part of this panel, and I'm also thanking the panelists for having made brilliant and informative presentations. Now, for the Economic Commission for Africa, as you have said, we have been in existence for the past 50 years, and what we wanted to do is to make sure that all the information which have been created by ECA through its organs, by member states, through working papers, annual reports, mission reports, policy briefs, speeches, and UN resolutions are digitized and made available. And before we started, I discussed with Dr. Sarah Geldin, who knows very well ECA, has been working with our early executive secretaries to assist in this effort. So I think this is a good sign that I'm sitting in the same panel with the BA director. As objective is to put in place an institutional repository that would provide online mechanism for collecting, preserving, and disseminating in digital format all the ECA publications. since its existence, this is how the library was looking before all the information was in the shelves, and I'm sure Dr. Ismail has seen it. Now where we are is to have a repository where everything is being digitized. We started this project in 2007, and the digitization were put in place starting from 2009. And as you all know, it was to have a systematic collection, management, preservation, and dissemination of the ECA intellectual property to increase accessibility to our knowledge and also to increase impact on our work. This was linked to two other activities. What is a portal called Access to Scientific and Socioeconomic Knowledge in Africa, and the African Virtual Library and Information Network. The project was launched in 2011 in a press release in one of our institutional governing mechanisms, the Committee on Development, Information, Science and Technology. What we did was to, first we have an online catalog where we imported the metadata and starting putting it in the IR, which is being developed using DSpace. We have 13 teams and 21 collections based on our work program. And then after importing, then we look for the full text documents to upload them as digital files. Now, when you go to the IR, you have these possibilities. You can browse by title, date, and communities and collections, by subject keywords, and also by thematic collections. And you can do a simple search, advanced search, subject search, and also we had possibilities of doing some harvesting to link it to other collections. This is the IR as it looks currently. It is available at repository.uneca.org. And we have currently 19,000 documents online in English and in French, covering these 13 teams. And these are the top countries which have visiting using the IR. The top one is the United States, and worst on the 10th is France. And what we have in Africa, we have only 3 countries which are on the top 10. That is Nigeria, Ethiopia, and South Africa. The download also, we have the top 10 downloads. The first one was on economic development, and the last one is on statistical development and socioeconomic statistics. The challenges we have are linked to connectivity and bandwidth in member states, because you have to access the IR through the internet, and as you know, some of the countries have very limited bandwidth capability to access the IR from their workplace, especially during working time where they have access problems. And when they go home, of course, you have to use your own money to be able to access it, and that creates a problem. And we have also what we call the SROs, that is the sub-regional offices of ECA. We have 5 of them, which are located in 5 sub-regions, including the one in North Africa, which is in Morocco. And some of those sub-regional officers also don't have qualified librarians or libraries or staff who can really use this information and who can process it. So what we are planning to do is to have a replica and mirrors at the sub-regional offices. Also to have what we call the IR in a box, where we'll have it put in DVDs and e-videos to make them available to distribute to research institutions in Africa, where they can use it and which can be updated regularly to send it back to them. The future developments is the multilingual possible capabilities. Currently, we have all the documents, 19,000 are in English and French uploaded, but the searching is still done in English, but we are working currently in making sure that the searching also can be done in French without having any problem. We are also planning to enhance the statistics and we work regularly on also upgrading the system. So, Madam Chair, this is what I had for time being, and it is available at repository.uneca.org. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Fay, for sharing with us what the ECA is presenting in terms of like diversity of content and access as well. And now we are going to be turning to another type of diversity, which is the Biodiversity Heritage Library. And here diversity is tackling content, locations, and culture. And also this is the Biodiversity Heritage Library has been an initiative that it is promoting the usage of the community participating into the creation of the content. So we hope that Dr. Wallace is going to share with us how they have addressed different aspects of the different diversities in the BHL, and also what was the most rewarding aspect of working with the global community. So if we can get the presentation of Dr. Wallace.
This talk is created for the 9th Internet Governance Forum, held in Istanbul, Turkey on the 2nd of September 2014. Thank you very much for inviting me. I am sorry that I cannot actually be with you all in Turkey, but I am very pleased to be able to join you remotely from the other side of the world, and I rely on the technology that allows me to do that. Today I would like to talk about a project called the Biodiversity Heritage Library. This project seeks to digitise and provide full-text access to science literature. It concentrates particularly on literature related to biodiversity and taxonomy, but now contains much more than that. The Biodiversity Heritage Library originally started in 2006 as a consortium of libraries and museums and herbaria in the United States and the United Kingdom. Since that time, and through deliberate efforts to reach out to communities around the world, the BHL now has nodes in Europe, China, Egypt, Brazil, South Africa, and Australia. And most recently, a node was opened in Kenya and another in Singapore. Each global node operates with its own governance structure, aims, and objectives, but the overall project goal is the same for all. And that goal is to focus on full-text scanning. BHL digitisation projects have provided access to published monographs, journal runs, and rare books. There are now over 44 million pages of literature available through the central BHL website, and still more in the separate websites run by some of the global nodes. More recently, BHL has started to explore digitising archives and field notes. Originally, the project focused on out-of-copyright literature, but now also approaches individual publishers to seek permission and a licence to digitise in-copyright works as well. The BHL is primarily accessed through several websites where the body of literature can be queried. This image shows the homepage of the central BHL website. Scanned literature is initially uploaded to the Internet Archive and harvested into BHL from there. Queries can be made using familiar library terms such as title, author, or date. Individual papers within journals can also be queried. The BHL website papers, as well as browse the images contained within them. Users can also view the uncorrected OCR, see which species is named on particular pages, and download a PDF of a paper of selected pages. Some of the global nodes run their own websites, which primarily cater to linguistic differences. For example, this is the homepage for BHL China, which is coordinated by our colleagues at the Chinese Academy of Sciences. The node in China focuses on digitising texts in Mandarin, as well as providing tools for Chinese researchers. Similarly, BHL Europe provides access to content in over 20 different languages. And in Egypt, the BHL Egypt node provides access to some texts in Arabic. This node is run by our colleagues at Biblioteca Alexandrina. Particularly impressive is the work that these colleagues have achieved with machine learning to improve OCR quality. One very powerful communicator across all languages is images. The Biodiversity Heritage Library has been successful in making images from scientific, historic texts available via Flickr. These are freely available for download and are used by artists, illustrators and educators, as well as by scientists. Just recently, the BHL community was interested to learn of the announcement that millions of images from books in the Internet Archive have also been posted to the commons, joining images already there in the BHL codes. Most recently, BHL has started to include digitised copies of primary archives, such as correspondence and field notes. This moves BHL into new territory, so that it becomes much more than a digital aggregated library service. Often, these types of texts are handwritten, and making them easily able to be accessed requires a different methodology and new workflows. Where possible, handwritten letters and field notes are accompanied by transcriptions. Transcription makes these very valuable historical and research materials searchable. As transcription is a time-consuming task that is not easy to automate, a number of sites seek assistance or crowdsource help from volunteers. One such site is shown here. It's called DigiVol, and it's run by our National Biodiversity Sciences aggregator in Australia called the Atlas of Living Australia, in collaboration with the Australian Museum. Volunteers working on the site are very highly motivated, and this group of people can assist in making knowledge available through powerful but simple internet tools. The Biodiversity Heritage Library has achieved many successes, but still has challenges. Principal amongst these is achieving a sustainable funding model that can continue into the future. There are also technical challenges in workflow for synchronizing content and metadata between the different BHL websites continues to require creative thought. Then there is the issue of how to attract new partners, how to best serve the existing ones, and how to address geographic gaps where there are, no doubt, excellent libraries who might be willing to participate. And there is the very real and challenging issue of copyright compliance, even for what seems like old literature published, say, in the 1950s or 1960s. But despite challenges, as there are for every project, the real strength of the BHL project is the many countries, cultures and languages it has brought together. Images on this slide show our global collaborators meeting in Germany, Morocco and in Australia this year. And I would like to acknowledge Dr. Udley, shown on the top slide, for her kind invitation to me to join you today. A project such as this requires global and local groups to work together to achieve a shared goal. A global collaborative project such as BHL is possible to achieve, and the social sharing as well as innovative technology allows us to do that. Thank you very much for your time today.
Well, thank you very much, Alicia, whom I think that she can hear us and she can see us. The problem is that we cannot hear her, but we have heard her through the videos. And thank you very much for the presentation, and actually for showing how the BHL is really an example of using the crowdsourcing into generating a very rich encyclopedia, very enriching and very useful for both public and researcher. I think we are beyond our time. We have passed 10:30. However, I would like to open the floor if there are questions from the floor, or actually from the panelists that they would like to raise to other panelists. So we can take maybe a couple of minutes for any questions or comments.
I may have a...
Sure, please do.
I really have a very small pragmatic comment, and this is that we should find a way of posting all our relative emails so that upon reflection we can follow up with each other on some of these things. Secondly, if we can also post the URLs for all the examples that have been used by each presenter, I think that will be useful for us to be able to go back and visit these sites as we go along. This is just a logistical point which I think will enable us to have more interaction after the event. The second broad issue that I think is important and that has not been touched upon, but that my colleague to my left and I were just mentioning, is the difference between languages and the dialects. And this is a very major issue. So in our, for example, the corpus of Arabic, we have 18 Arabic sources, 18 countries. Egypt, for example, is only 13% of the total of 100 million words that we are using. And that's because there are differences. Even though we try to use modern classical Arabic, there are differences in words. For example, in the Levant, they say tazahurat talibiyya, and in Egypt, they say muzaharat tullabiyya. There's nothing wrong. They're both correct linguistically and everything else, but they are different. And stylistically, therefore, we need that recognition. I know that UNESCO, and they've done a lot of work on a lot of the local languages, and there's been, especially also including the non-written languages in the 6,000, so on, you have all these variations. But when we talk about the internet, it seems to me that there's a big policy issue about the extent to which we will consolidate around basic family structures. So, for example, in the Arabic world, we are trying to consolidate around what we call modern standard Arabic, as opposed to trying to say this is Moroccan dialect and this is Yemeni dialect and this is so on. And I wonder whether our colleague from UNESCO could tell us whether there are any such efforts outside of the Arab world.
Well, that's an extremely interesting point, because I think there are two sides to the debate. There are those who believe in the name of linguistic diversity to maintain all the dialects, so that the more the merrier. On the other hand, there are those who believe that if you don't have some kind of standardization, then communication is very difficult between different groups. So I don't have any personal position on this. I think UNESCO is an extremely open-minded institution. We have had lots of discussion with the Arab group. And even within the Arab group, there are different opinions. So for the moment, we're not taking position. We're just encouraging people to develop local content, assisting in whatever we can to the development of local content, and putting it online. So that's where we stand. But I think the question you raise is a very fundamental one.
To shed light on how we can deal with this monster that's called digital content creation in a specific language. I think whenever we do that, we have to keep in our minds the ecosystem, because here we have UN organizations, we have libraries, we have governments, we have NGOs. where is the center of all of this? Who is the leader? Who is the focal point? Is there a focal point for content creation? Or it's a matter of an ecosystem where everyone, the output of some agency is the input of another agency. I think this notion is very important, because if we think of a center agency or category and everyone is circling around it, that's a model. And if we think that every one of us is a node on this network of things, for me, I think this is the right thing, because everyone is a specialized agency. For example, the private sector, they worry about how to make money out of content creation, content distribution, content dissemination, content reformulation, and so on. The United Nations organizations in general, we are here to help countries, to help governments, policymakers, to bring best practices, standards, and so on. We have the libraries, the repositories, whether it's a digital library, whether it's a ordinary classical library. I think they have a lot of stakes in making sure that the wisdom is there, the culture is there, it's accessible by everyone, and so on. So the point I want to make is that I think it's totally advisable if we look at content creation, digital content, digital localized content in an ecosystem. For example, the internet people, someone mentioned the ICANN, the other internet administration organizations, also they have different kind of stakes in content creation. So I really advise the ecosystem thing. Thank you.
Yes, on the question raised by Dr. Ismail, yes, I think it is important to keep also the languages which are not widely available. And in the African continent, actually, we have thousands of local languages which exist. And in this context, the African Academy of Languages, ACALAN, was put in place, supported by the African Union, by UNESCO. And this academy is based in Bamako, is promoting the use and widely acceptance of the African languages which are being lost because of the colonial domination of English and French. So we have put in place some systems to have a repertory of those languages, and also, as our colleague from UNESCO has said, it is important to have this day of your own language, which has been put in place to promote the use of these languages. And I believe with the African Union supporting ECA, which has also done a lot of studies on the use of African language in the cyberspace, in the coming years, this promotion of the African languages will definitely have an impact on the socio-economic development of the continent. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Lauren. John, do you want to have any? Well, I would like to thank you all for your interventions and for your very interesting comments. I think we can withdraw, we can draw some recommendations from all the presentations that have been presented today. Given the time, I think I am going to circulate these recommendations among the speakers, and I'm going to present it also to the IGF, that we are going to post it online and have it published with the website. So with that, I would like to thank all the speakers for their efforts and for being able to come and share with us their thoughts and their comments. I would like to thank the organizers and the co-organizers for making this workshop a reality. And finally, I would like to thank the audience for coming and sharing with us our workshop on digital content. Thank you very much.
Can you, oh. We're going to start in about 5 minutes. Thank you for your patience.
Good afternoon, everyone. We're going to get started. Morning, I guess. I'd like to thank all of you for joining us today. My name is Sally Wentworth. I'm the Vice President of Global Policy Development for the Internet Society, and you are here for the Internet Society's Open Forum. I see many friendly faces, old friends in the crowd, but also some new faces. And so we'd like to thank you for spending this hour with us to learn more about the Internet Society, and we hope ultimately to get involved and become part of our community. We have a lot of people up at the front of the room here, so I won't spend too many moments in opening remarks, but for those of you who don't know the Internet Society, we are a global organization dedicated to the view that the Internet is for everyone. And we carry out that mission and that advocacy around the world through chapters, members, activities, regional activities, policy activities, technical work, focused on that view that the Internet should be a global medium of opportunity. So what you'll hear here today is more information about our priorities, how we go about doing our work, and most importantly, how you can be involved with us going forward. I've been told that we have remote participation, so we'll be taking questions from our remote participants throughout this session. There will also be a microphone roaming in the room, so if you have questions, please raise your hand and wait for the microphone to come to you so that those who are participating online can have the benefit of your comments and questions as well. And we do hope that this will be interactive, so please do raise your hands and ask